This will be our last episode in this series about death and grief. And many of you have been asking about the cat. Where is Belle? She comes in and out, and it's really wonderful to see the attention that you have on her. And so we want to tell a little story. Something happened recently where Belle actually passed away, and so we would like to kind of share that experience with you, tell you how it went, and in the perspective of this whole subject that we're talking about. So how do you want to start?
Well, death is a very interesting process, so we've been talking about it for some time. And then in the last couple of weeks we got to witness it in first-hand experience. Yeah. And so Belle is part of the relationship. She's been with us for 20 years, so this is a cat that's had an amazing life. But this process was really fascinating to watch. Sad, because the cat was that important to us. But at the same time, the cat was very aware. And what we watched for about 2 days before that, she started to slow down very dramatically. She started to wobble a little bit.
Yeah.
And so
on the first day, on a Monday, she actually stopped eating, which wasn't a big deal because we have these little pills we give her when that happens. And always when we give her the pills, in a couple hours it kicks in and she's hungry again. And so then on the next day she stopped drinking, and so she wasn't eating, she wasn't drinking. And then so on the third day we took her to the vet, and this is when she was wobbling, and it's like she didn't have the muscles or the strength.
Now, this is very similar to you watching an elderly person beginning to shut down. They make a decision that they're going to leave, and then the body begins to systematically shut down, sometimes over a period of months, sometimes very quickly. But in this case, it was really interesting because the vet said, she's
failure.
off the charts, kidney failure. And so we started talking to her, and she says, it's time to leave. So we sat with her, and Roxane sat with her for about 3 hours and just petting her. And what we did is opened up the space. We said, hello, what do you want? And we basically started making the space very calm for her.
Very safe. And it was right here in this chair with this blanket.
But from my point of view, watching death is a very interesting thing because it doesn't have to be traumatic. And one of the things that happens is people are in one another's space often. Mm-hmm. And so at this last couple of hours of death, when everybody, a family is, oh, I hope you don't die, don't leave, that's a very heavy energy that the person has to push through to get out of the body.
So part of that 3 hours, actually over 3 hours of us just sitting here holding her, was us making separations from her, us moving our energy out of her space. And what we watched is she just breathed slower and slower, and she was so still, and she was way out of her body. And we created this really safe space. It was perfect.
Now, when you watch it from a spiritual point of view, what you see is a person, or in this case the cat, in a lively space. They're in a contained field, that personal power field that we talk about, that bubble that we all exist in, or that space of the aura. When you start to watch a person leave at that point, you begin to see this light that glows around them. And it's as if this additional ball of light begins to expand, and it gets fairly large, and that little piece, that them in that space, is pretty small. But you watch that little space begin to open up, and it begins to get light inside that body. And so the consciousness in the body begins to merge with the consciousness in the outer space, in the all that is, in going home. It is very fascinating because in my reality, I've assisted 6 people to die. And they all asked, 4 of them very consciously, 2 of them without using words, but saying, please help. And same thing happened, opening up the space for them to step into it. And in the last minutes, they would talk about how beautiful it is, or the angels are there. And then it was as if they just merged with that space. And there was no drama about stepping out of the body. And the same thing happened with Belle.
Yeah, and what we watched was her expanding into this, I don't know, unified field, this something bigger. And she got to a certain edge, and all that was left was this little shimmer. I saw it as a sphere, and it was like there was this little shimmer on the outside skin of the sphere. And as she was laying here, breathing slower and slower, when it came time, when she actually took her last breath, it's like that little shimmer went pop, and it just dissipated.
Yeah, and the whole transition of her death, there was no drama in it. She was very calm and very clear. She said, "Hey, this is what I'm doing. It's time to leave." And she would take her energy back from us very clearly. It was, I'm now collecting me up.
Yeah.
And it was a thank you, taking her energy back. And we'd sit and take all of our I love yous and the energies that we put in her space kind of back to give her that room. And it was just this very smooth thing, and then gone. Really quite a beautiful process, particularly if you can get out of this, and this is the hard part, this is my pet, this is my friend, this is my relationship. So knowing you're going to lose a relationship is, in this case, is very similar to an old friend saying, "I'm moving to another city," and you hug them and you're standing there and they get in their car and they drive away, and you say, "Well, I'm going to miss them. They were my friend." If you can view this process of death with someone who's close to you from that space of this is my friend and they're stepping into a new place, the drama inside you, of which very little of it is your drama. It's the history of people watching and observing and participating in death. It's not your energy necessarily, but it becomes the drama of death that we get kind of sucked into. It's the belief
of what it is, the cultural belief of what death is.
Right. So many people go into tears and agony and loss, and it's an exaggerated set of feelings that doesn't belong to you. So in this process of allowing them, taking back yours, giving back to them what is theirs, the ability to have this happen smoothly, with sadness, with disappointment, with a kind of heartbreak, but not with the drama and the pain. And the ability to then smoothly step back into your space over the course of days or weeks becomes much more acceptable and comfortable.
And then after she passed away, we just sat here for half an hour, 45 minutes, just holding her and petting her and thanking her and saying goodbye.
And in that particular space, it was really a gift because petting her and just saying hello to her, even though she'd just left the body, created a space to where she would jump up on the couch when we would be watching Netflix or something. And that sensation of her always being there is still very present. And it's like she'd get on my lap and I can sit here right now and feel her presence, or feel her presence. And so it's never a loss as long as you hold the memory and the awareness. If you hold the memory and awareness of, oh, she's gone, isn't this terrible? That's what you'll get. But in that case, we had a half an hour of basically really holding her and establishing that space. And now it's something where I can sit in my meditation and feel her jump up on my lap and be very comfortable with that process.
And we're also hearing her. Like yesterday, there was a sound outside the house, and I was convinced it was Belle upstairs yelling at us.
And I think in the process of life and death and relationship, many of us say, well, I just heard him, or I just felt her. And you are. But it's that process of allowing this to be smooth and comfortable, giving them back their energy and taking back yours, that makes the process of dying more comfortable for everybody.
So we just wanted to kind of share that with you and let you know that that occurred, and it was beautiful and perfect, and I want to die like that.
Yeah, I wish everybody could die like that. It's
Yeah.
a very clear place of stepping into something bigger.
Yeah.
So we hope this series on death and grief and white light is of value, and we enjoyed having the opportunity to play with you.
Yeah.
Blessings.